Hey Band Network Remote Teaching Series. Welcome to the Hey Band Network. We are in the Remote Teaching Series, and today we have a fantastic teacher from Brownsville ISD in Brownsville, Texas. This is Mario Sarmiento from Filemon B Vela Middle School, and he's here to talk about some remote teaching and what they're doing and implementing in their school. So welcome to the Hey Band Network.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it, Mr. Dempsey. Thank you for having me on. Looking forward to it.
We're glad to have you here. This has been a lot of fun, trying to find out how do we survive these different times and then sharing it with people. Let's start and tell everybody kind of about yourself at the program and the school you're at and that type of information.
Sure. So first of all, my name is Mario Sarmiento. I'm the band director there at Vela Middle School. I've been there for quite a while now, actually. After I graduated college up at UNT, I started working there back in 1997. So I started there as an assistant for a couple of years with Dennis Ewan was the head director at the time, and then he went up to the high school level, and then I continued being an assistant under Mike Dawson for several years. He's now in Fort Worth. And then after that, he also took off, and so I took over the program ever since. And so I've been there for about 23 years now at Vela Middle School. Love it there. It's a great program. The kids are great. They're wonderful. Our school, as far as the actual school itself, we're a double C, and so it's a good sized school, but you know it's a double C school. It's a good school. I mean, we're a 7-star school, so you know we're proud of that. The academics are doing really well there as well. So yeah, we have our band program is probably about fluctuates, but we're about 260, 250, 260 in the total band program from 6th grade all the way to 8th grade. So you know we love making music there, and you know the kids are great. So
yeah, you've fantastic bands and
yeah.
Every year consistently been great. So
Well, thank you. Thank you.
What's kind of your setup in terms of your bands? How many bands do you have, and a little bit of that format for people not familiar with the Brownsville system?
Sure. So as far as our band setup is concerned, and this has been pretty much consistent since I've been there, we have obviously a beginner band, and then we have 2 concert bands, and we call those concert band A, concert band B, and then we also have the top band, which is symphonic band. And so that's pretty much our overall setup as far as the classes are concerned there. What we teach, and we all are designated to a different band. For example, I do the symphonic band, and then my colleagues do the concert bands, and then we all do the beginner band there. So, and it's the 3 of us, and then we also have a double reed specialist who comes in a couple times a week and also helps us out with double reeds because we need that.
Wait,
She's great.
explain that. Not everybody has a double reed specialist. So how often do you see them on your campus?
Yeah, so it depends on the schedule. So we'll see her. She'll come in either in the mornings or during the class time or after school, a couple times a week. And she's pretty much at the Hannah cluster, and I believe she's at another high school as well. And her name is Erica Casanova, by the way. She does an amazing job. But she'll coordinate with her schedule. She does a ton of other middle schools as well around town and high schools. So she'll coordinate the times and the schedules with the kids and with us, as far as when our classes are meeting. And, if we happen to have an oboe or a bassoon in our class, she'll come in and she'll work with them, whether it's during class or whether it's after school. It's not every day because she's got to be at different campuses, but she'll come in, a couple times a week just to help us out. And then we just try to reinforce what she's doing. So
cool. And then when we get into talking about how we're dealing with teaching in this environment, maybe some things what she's doing now when we get to that part. So
sure, absolutely.
Cool. And I know you're not the only one on your campus. Obviously,
right.
She helps you out and comes on. So talk about your staff. These things don't happen without a staff and a team of people trying to make this go.
Yeah, great. No, it's absolutely right. And I think a big part of the reason why Vela has had the success that it's had is because of the team that we have, and they're awesome. I couldn't have asked for a better team. But we have two others. I have 2 other assistant band directors, Mr. Garza, Mike Garza, who's actually he's a native from Brownsville. I've known him for a long time. We actually went to school together up at UNT. And then he went up to Spain for several years, and he actually played in an orchestra up in Spain for a long time, for most of his adult life. So he's a fantastic player, fantastic French horn player, and just an amazing brass teacher. So I'm lucky to have him there in our campus teaching all the brass. So he does all the brass. all beginner brass and the advanced brass classes. So he's there. And then we also have Jimmy Cantu, who is my percussion instructor. Amazing band director, amazing percussion instructor, and amazing drum set player. Just an amazing teacher overall, great motivator as well. So he's had a ton of success with all region results and things like that. So I'm very lucky to have him there, both of them. So
yeah, both of those guys. But there's some great stories about Jimmy and Cantu and his success through the
yeah,
years.
no, he's great. No, they're great. They're both really good. So
Fantastic guys. So, well, we're here to talk about remote teaching and distance learning for the kids and how we're doing that. And as we were finding out, there are some things that work well for some, and there are hurdles that everybody's trying to cross. And so let's dig in a little bit and kind of see what you are doing. So let's just start kind of at the top. What is a schedule, or what does a week kind of look like for your students right now?
okay, so I mean, right now, honestly, a lot of it is trial and error. We're trying to figure out, with our kids at least, what actually works. So it's kind of like, like spraying and praying, right? So we try a method, we try something, and see if it sticks. But some of the things that we're currently doing are, I think, some of the things that a lot of people are doing currently. For example, we're using for theory, just to kind of do a little bit of theory with our kids. We're using that breezing through theory. So we use that for those that can, because obviously and we can talk about some of the challenges, but sometimes it's just getting to the website, being able to access those kinds of things is a little bit challenging for some of the kids. But we use breezing through theory. We also have some theory sheets that we've posted up on our website. We have a band website, a Vela band website, so we've posted some of that on there. So this, kind of the nuts and bolts, kind of the minimum that we have is we have some theory sheets up on our website. We have a practice card as well that we've put up there. So that way the kids are keeping up with how much practicing they're doing on a daily basis. Actually, it goes all week long, and then at the very end, the parents can just sign that. So that way, when they turn it into us, we can verify that they're actually practicing at home and how much they're practicing. And so that's kind of a way for us to have something tangibly to see, how involved and what it is that they're doing at home. Because we feel, at least I feel that time on task as far as their instrument is concerned is important, because obviously we're not at the band hall, so we're not able to do those rehearsals or sectionals that we normally do, those practice times that they usually have on their own, and where they're monitoring, making sure they're doing. That's just we're not able to do that. So bare bone minimums. We got a practice card up on our website, and then we also have the theory sheets as well. Other things that they also have access to is, like I said before, that breeze in through theory. That's one of the things that we're working through, and they love that. I mean, I've gone on there and I see some of the kids already, past all kinds of chapters, and it's like, whoa, that's pretty amazing. So they're doing great with that. We're also using smart music as a tool to be able to do that. So we'll assign some things on smart music, of course, put a deadline on those, and hopefully the kids will go through those. And they've been doing great. They're great with that. Of course, what I like about it is that there's some feedback there too. So they're able to put a comment after they've played whatever etude or whatever line or whatever we assigned. They can put a little comment there, and they're always hilarious. Sir, my reed wasn't working right, so I didn't sound great. So it's a little bit, it's fun, or sir, I had to do this 50 times before I felt comfortable sending it to you, which is cool. That means that they're practicing repetitiously, and hopefully they'll get better. So we're using that as a resource as well. At Google, of course, Google Classroom, Remind, those things that, just to try to get those things out there. We do a little bit, also not only that particular software, but we'll also do some recordings ourselves. So, I'll do a headshot recording of kind of like this, explaining some things. I'll do some announcements. I'll put it up on YouTube, and I'll send it to all the kids. Hey guys, this is what we're doing this week. Or just to pep them up, just to see how they're doing. Just make sure you're doing great. If you have any questions or any concerns, let us know. Just reach out to us. We're here to help in whatever way we can. So try to get that almost face-to-face communication, even though that I can't get that feedback right away. But at least they're seeing me, and so I'm giving them some type of instruction. Other things that we're doing, kind of in the recording area as well, is we'll record a lesson. I know that there's some software like Screencastify is one of them, where you can actually, as you're looking at something on the screen, you can give a lesson. And if you want to just do the audio, you can, or you can put yourself in the little corner with a camera, and you can talk to the kids. And that's something that I actually tried this week. I did a beginner lesson because I realized that some of the students were unable to log into Smart Music for some reason. They were having trouble or whatnot. So I figured, let me do something that might be a little bit more accessible to them. So still using the software or the application on my computer, I was actually using Screencastify to teach a lesson on the screen. So, but I had to do it individually. So for example, the flutes, for my beginner flutes, since I realized that maybe not all of them can get to Smart Music, I actually recorded it on screen, and I talked them through it as if I was there teaching the lesson. So I was getting into it. I was saying, hey, great job, congratulations, that sounded great, even though I couldn't hear anything. But at least it kind of gives them that feedback. It was very positive, trying to make it fun, and so that they can remember what it was like when I was there with them. So we'll do things like that. We'll record ourselves, and we'll teach a lesson, whether it's just something for Smart Music or maybe an etude that we're working on, and we'll send it to them. And of course, we'll want some feedback. We'll ask them to do a recording for us and send it back to us. So that's kind of the way that we're doing week by week. And some of it is just experimental. We're just trial and error. We're seeing what works. Some things we send out something, we're like, oh, this is great, man. This is going to be so awesome. They're really going to like it. And then at the end of the day, it's like crickets. Like, we don't hear anything back. There's no feedback. There's nothing. It's like, okay, well, I guess it wasn't as great as I thought. And then I'll send out something that I was like, well, they may or may not like it. And all of a sudden I get all this kind of feedback. So it's just spray and pray. We're just kind of seeing what we need to do to make it work. So anyway, I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, that's cool. I like the Breezing Through Theory. Is that a website? People
yes, it is. It is a website, and it's actually free. I believe, like for example, Smart Music and Breezing Through Theory, all those they usually require is some sort of a fee, but it is a website that the teacher can log into, the students can log into with their own personal access code, and then we as a teacher, we can check out what they're doing, how they're doing on their assignments. And I love Smart Music because you can actually hear them play, and you can actually hear what they're doing and provide some type of feedback to them. So yes, sir. So Reason to Theory's website it's great. It's fun. It's got different activities on there. It's got some games that kids can go through. So the challenge is just trying to get them to go to the website. Yeah.
And yeah, right. Just get them online and have
right.
the ability to. The
right.
YouTube thing, I'm real intrigued, and I love the idea of that you talk to the kids, like, because that's what they miss. And you talk to kids, miss just seeing their teachers and hearing that positive reinforcement that through this. Keep seeing those messages, and that's really great for them. So
yes, sir.
That's wonderful stuff, and lots of tools anybody can use out there.
Exactly right.
So you mentioned Remind. Are there any? And you mentioned the website, so we can put that on here at the end. We want to put that on YouTube if you want to share that, so people can kind of visit and see. Other ways? Are there any other ways you communicate with your students besides those means?
We try to make it as easy and accessible to the kids. Most of our kids are on our Remind, so that's what we use the most. Before this whole online teaching, thing came along, most of our communication was through Remind. So most of our kids are on Remind. We do, whenever we send a message, we do give them different ways of accessing us, which is either Remind, Google Classroom, or even email as well. But those are the main ways that we're communicating with the kiddos right now. That they seem to be the most effective ways to communicate, and we get them from different. It's either Remind. I get a lot of reminds every day. I get messages through Google Classroom, and then I get messages through email. So sometimes it's hard to keep up with all of them. But I understand that some of them, for whatever reason, they can't either access one or the other. So we try to make it as accessible for them to be able to get a hold of us. I don't want that to be a barrier or something that the kids don't feel like they can reach out to us because they don't have a certain method or that kind of thing. So we try to provide multiple ways, which includes our website too. We'll put up announcements on the website as well. If there's something that we need to post up there, we'll do it as well as needed. So
very good. Any challenges you have? Students having access, Wi-Fi, devices, anything like that you've dealt with or come across in the last few weeks?
Yes, I think it's probably the same for most everybody, because I've seen a lot of these conversations being held like on Facebook and online, is just, getting some of the kids to be able to access some of these sites, some of these programs, because even though they're free, they can't always access either through because they don't have Wi-Fi, or maybe the computer, they can't do it, or maybe they don't have a computer, maybe they have a tablet or an iPad, and of course, smart music, it does work with, there is an app for it, but sometimes, they try to use the website, and they can't use the website on their tablet or whatnot, so that becomes a little challenging. So just getting the kids on board with everything that we're doing is a challenge because of the communication. We have, one of the things that I failed to mention is we do try to communicate also through phone. Ultimately, if we need to call them, we'll call them to remind them to sign up for things. But it's just a challenge trying to get everybody 100% to be on board with what we're doing. So that's why I say, I just tried different methods to see if the kids that aren't able to log into one thing, they can do another thing. And I just don't want them to feel like they're not doing anything. I want them to feel like they're a part of the band, like they're a part of the program, and they don't have to use one thing necessarily. There's different ways to do it. And for some kids, they can't get a hold of us, or they can't get on. We're just hoping that they're practicing at home. So that's why I still keep sending these remind messages, which for the most part, I would say probably 95% of our kids are getting, or the parents. So at least they're getting the reminders about, hey, make sure you stay, practice on a daily basis, make sure you consistently work on things. And so at least that's reminding them in case they can't get a hold of us, they can at least do the things that we're asking them to do on their own. So that I think for us has been the challenge, is trying to get everybody on board. And then we still have, some students that are not linked into some of these programs yet, and we're trying to get 100% of them to be on there. But whether that'll happen or not, that's going to be a question, I guess, for when it's all said and done, right? So
that sounds good. You got a lot of kids participating, responding,
yeah,
getting the information,
yeah,
and that seems like a big hurdle for everybody. So
right.
Let's talk about your staff. And so there's some
Yeah.
people that come around your campus, and then the three of you on your campus. So how have you maintained your communication? What are you using? Frequency? Do you guys do that during the week during this time?
As far as like us communicating with, or me communicating with the staff, or vice versa?
Yeah, and that, and then how are they? Because I know there's a lot of people that are assistants or are head
Oh,
directors.
right, exactly.
How are we
Sure.
using them? How do we keeping in contact?
Sure. Well, first of all, like for example, this week we had a meeting with our supervisor, Mike Garcia, and so all the head directors from middle schools, we kind of had a Zoom meeting and talked about things that are coming up, that are kind of out there that we needed to address. And then of course with my staff, which is Mr. Cantu and Mr. Garza, we're in constant communication every day. As a matter of fact, we text each other, we ask each other questions. We're just going back and forth. And some of us, are a little bit more savvy at maybe tech, and maybe somebody else is a little bit better at something. So we try to help each other out. Somebody will come up with an idea, and we're like, oh, that's great. So let's just try that, or let's brew on it a little bit and see how that works out. And so yeah, we're in constant communication every day. And we hadn't tried Zoom yet, but we actually did it today, just because we're so used to texting one another. We don't have issues doing that. So we did a little Zoom meeting today, brainstormed about a couple things that we wanted to address. And but yeah, we're in constant communication all the time, just texting back and forth at whatever time it is. It doesn't really matter. So
And
at
then
this point, we can't tell whether it's morning or evening. We're just like, it's like we're just going.
and we just live in front of these computers right now.
Yeah, we
That's
just do
it.
that. That's how we do this. That's right. That's right.
Any new tricks? I mean, you've shared with some cool things and some websites and stuff, but any like new tricks you figured out that in the past few weeks being forced into this online teaching?
Um, not. I mean, it's because I like techie stuff, so I deal with a lot of that kind of stuff. But it just kind of forced me to dig more into it. I've always liked to do computer stuff, video things, and things like that. But I guess if there was one thing that really I think is going to help me in the future here, especially moving forward with beginners, is I think it's that Screencastify. So much so that I actually upgraded to the paid version, because I think the free version only gives you 5 minutes. So I actually upgraded to the paid version, because I think it's something that I could be teaching right in front of my screen and my computer, be teaching the lesson and being able to point out some things on the screen as I'm talking to them, just as if I was at school, but obviously there's nobody there. So I'm just talking to myself, but I'm pretending that they're there. So I think if there was a trick or something that I think has really helped me and is really going to help me moving forward, I think it's that particular software, Screencastify. I mean, I highly recommend it. It just captures your screen. If there's something else out there, people can use it, but that's something that works for me. So.
And I think there's a code to get you like a month extension for longer
Is
video.
there? Okay, I must have missed that code. I already paid, I guess.
It's like a
For the
month
whole year.
long, and then we have to pay. But
Yeah.
at least to start, it's a month of getting some lessons taught. So
Right.
But no, I think it's worthwhile. Several people have been using it and helpful, and a new tool for us to use in this business.
Right.
You said you're a tech guy and you're kind of into that side of things, and I've kind of seen some of your stuff you put up.
Yeah.
So talk about what you use for what's kind of your setup that you're using in terms of the technology, the hardware stuff.
Okay, sure. I think I posted something on my Facebook page that it was a little bit overkill, right? It was kind of a tongue in cheek. It was meant to be funny, because I am a tech guy, but I think it's a good question, because sometimes people get frustrated with not knowing how to do certain things, or maybe they just want to up their quality of a video or a presentation. Yeah, I mean, who knows? Maybe some of these things that we're doing now, some of the recordings, for example, that I'm doing now or that my staff is doing now, we might be able to use them in the future. Maybe they can be available to use in the future for our classroom. So, we want to make sure that that if we make them, that we can use them, sometime in the future for the benefit of our kids. So, maybe we want to up the quality a little bit. So some of the things that I'm using are, for example, like right now, and whenever I do my videos for my class, I'm actually using a DSLR camera. It doesn't have to be an expensive camera, but I am using a DSLR camera. It's because it's an entry-level DSLR, and I'm using it for this, and I use it for the videos that I do. I do also have another, upgraded professional camera that I use for photography and things like that. But yeah, so I'm using a DSLR, which obviously the quality is a little bit better. Some people like to use just the camera that comes with a computer, that kind of thing. So it just depends. But I use a DSLR camera. I'm using lighting in my room. I have some LED lights, and they're video lights, so you can buy those on Amazon or whatnot. But they're like just about this size LED lights that I put up to record. I have and I said this in the video that I made is I think that audio is really important. So a lot of times you could have video that's not great. I mean, you might not have a DSLR. You might just have the camera on your computer. But if you really want to capture somebody or somebody's attention, audio is very important. So at least having a good audio source. Like right now, I'm using a lapel mic, and that's what I use when I'm doing my talking videos to the kids. So I'll record myself with using the lapel, and then in post, I use a software. There's an Adobe suite that people can get, with Adobe and for pictures and things like that. But it does also can come with like audio features and video features, and that's what I use. I use Premiere Pro to kind of put everything in place. If I'm using, because I'm also using multiple cameras if I have to. So I go later in post and I kind of put those together and just kind of create this really cool video for the kids, because we live in an age where everybody's on YouTube, right? And so you've got people that have millions of subscribers or thousands of subscribers. And so we're kind of competing against that. So I want to make sure that I get their attention, and I want to make sure that my audio is good. And so, there's also other microphones that you can put on, top of your computer or next to your desk. And that also can help with the audio. So definitely having some kind of an audio source that's probably better than what you're using with a computer helps. And then of course, lighting is very important, kind of in that order. And then I think the last thing, which is important, if you can afford it, if you can do it, would be your capture source, which could be a camera or whatever you have on, the computer, or anything else that you could be using for that. So it's probably overkill for what I do. But like I said, I want maybe some of these lessons to be evergreen, so that, you can use them now, but you can also use them next year. And then you can use them, a couple of years ago. What I did, this was also a few years ago, is I kind of did the same thing just to experiment with the equipment that I had. I was actually teaching beginner lessons right at the beginning of the year, because as we're starting the beginning of the year, They're barely getting their instrument. We don't get to a lot during class because we're trying to get other things done. So what I did is I actually recorded myself teaching a beginner lesson on how to make the sound. Like, this is how you produce the sound. So that became evergreen. So every time at the beginning of the year now for about 3 or 4 years, I send that link out via reminder. Say, hey guys, why don't you start looking at this video, start working at what I'm showing you, the band phase, the embouchure, and how to produce your first sound. And if you have your instrument, you can experiment with that. So they can go back and rewind and just listen to it over and over again. And it becomes like me being there all the time, giving them a lesson, even though I'm not there. So, just try to do that. So that, that's why I have this equipment, to be able to do that, those kinds of things. So I hope that helps. And if anybody needs, recommendations or whatnot, I mean, there's ways to recommend these kinds of equipment for them.
Yeah, that's real helpful to talk about sources and stuff, but
Right.
how do you actually make it better? And
Right.
you can search it up, but just stuff along your lines, what you're using, a mic and a camera, and those things will help out for
Right.
sure.
Right.
And your light source too. So
Right. Exactly.
cool. Anything else on like things you guys have picked up on the last few weeks on remote teaching?
I mean, not really. We're just, man, I think like everybody else, I don't know how many people are out there just struggling right now. It's the same thing with us. We look back and we're like, we look back at our band program and we look at the music that we wanted to play for this year. And we were really looking forward to UIL, and we were looking forward to, possibly, competing against for honor band. And so we had a really beefy program scheduled for our kids. And it's just, now it's just, you go from doing all these, these things with the kids with this kind of music to now trying to figure out, okay, so what do we do now? So I think for me, it's just right now it's just the challenge in trying to figure out how I can keep these kids motivated and trying to still have them perform and play at a level that's going to keep them ready for next year. At least we're hoping we're going to be able to go back next year, right? And or also for high school, because I'm sure that the high school is going to need them for, if they're able to do what they need to do in the fall, so we need to keep these kids engaged to make sure that they're ready to go up to the high school level and be ready to perform there. So I just, just trying to experiment with everything that I'm doing just to keep up.
That's great. Well, thanks. Let's talk about you a little bit. What do you do? I mean, it sounds like we're in front of these computers and making videos and grading and all sorts of stuff.
Right.
Is there anything you've done since you've been home that you wouldn't normally do during a normal spring semester?
Yeah, well, for me, I think it's just spending quality time with my family, with my boy. I have a 4-year-old boy, great kid, but he's all over the place. He loves running. He loves going outside. And that was always on the back of my mind. You're at school, really early in the morning, you're leaving school really late in the evening, teaching lessons, teaching sectionals. And so those are the kinds of things that were always going on in my mind. And so, just being here with him and just spending time with him during the day, just seeing him grow every day and learning new words and being able to put sentences together. And, just that for me is a treat, just being here with him all the time. So I'm definitely taking advantage of that, every single minute, every single moment that I can, because, people always told me, hey man, time's going to fly. And I can see how, because he's so big now. And I don't want to miss those really important moments in his life, especially right now. So.
Yeah, that's cool. That's good. Yeah, it's eye-opening what we see at this point.
Yeah.
Being home and things different. So
very
cool.
Awesome.
Any shout outs you have?
Yeah. So, thanks first of all, thanks for this opportunity, Mr. Dempsey. I really appreciate it. Hopefully this info has been helpful, but that as far as shout out, yeah, definitely my family, my wife, my son, my entire family, just they're super awesome. They're always, keeping tabs on us. And so that's great. My band director colleagues, out there, those of you guys that are out there that are in the trenches trying to make it work, shout out to you guys, and for always inspiring all of us. I see all the posts that are out there of people doing things, and that always, motivates me and inspires me to want to do better as well. And of course, all our admins in my school district as well, my fine arts administrators, our school, all our school teachers, and of course my principal. He's always telling us to bring our A game. So, we definitely try to do that on a daily basis. And of course, my awesome kids at Vela, I want to throw a shout out, to them as well, because, they're amazing kids. They're resilient. They're hard workers. And even though we're going through these times right now, they're definitely being, being good sport about it. And so definitely a shout out to them, and also my former kids out there that, you know, might get to see this video. We miss all of them, and we wish we'd be there rehearsing with them. And they make me proud as a band director. So and of course my staff too, man. They're great. Jimmy and Mike, those guys are amazing. So just thanks for everything that they've done up to now there at Vela Middle School. Appreciate it. So
yeah, you all do great work over there, and so shout out to
thank
all
you.
those folks. So yeah, no, it's been great
Absolutely.
having you on.
Thank you.
Any
Thank you.
last tips for anyone? Last words of wisdom as we keep going through who knows how long?
Yeah. Yeah, I think, once the one thing that I could say is, well, once we get back to, quote unquote normalcy, right? Once we go back to being what we're used to doing, is especially to the young band directors, it's just to always ask questions, observe others who are also have been doing this for a long time. All the great directors that are out there. Record your bands, talk to a mentor, apply what you're learning, and then repeat. Do it again. So just to the young band directors that are out there, just to be motivated to ask questions and always want to learn, to improve your game. So and to all my other colleagues, just stay with it, and we're going to get through this. And it's just it might be the new normal now. Maybe we're all learning this for a reason. Maybe we're going to be able to use these kinds of tools now. I wasn't using them before, not to this extent. Maybe this is something now that I can start applying. So I mean, everything happens for a reason and a purpose. And so maybe we can definitely see the good in the midst of the trials that we're going through. So anyway, stay with it.
Well, thank you. Thank you for joining us on the Hey Band Network,
Yeah.
talking about remote teaching and sharing some of your expertise and some of your tricks and tips and some of the trial and error stuff, and then how to get this done. So really appreciate you being on with us.
Awesome.
And we look forward to chatting with you in the future.